Yeah, sure. That's 10 gold. Let's go drink for drink. First one to throw up loses. Alright.
We're doing this now. No backing out. Time for some devil's tongue.
Last session a few weeks ago, your group completed traversing the hidden tunnels under the world between, and one note just shut the bed, and found a unique and imposing door that had a fluid metallic dragon skull dominating the frame, protruding outwards, and then when it was touched, inverting inward quite seamlessly. And after a period of time or a second touch, it then erupted into what seemed to be an extremely powerful fear spell, but that one that you guys were aware of, but you were immune to thanks to the feast that you'd undertaken well within the time frame of eating it compared to when you were exploring the door. So after much experimentation, including launching a very unimpressed Drake through the air like a cannonball, and then
Oh,
an
he's got
Indiana
wings now.
Jones. Does he? Oh, you need to give me an update on the Drake on where he's at, because I need to know with the levels for the when flight comes along. Okay, so he's got some wings coming in.
And he grew bigger.
Well, you haven't. You'll actually officially get your level 7 when you do your long rest. So at the moment, the wings are in potentia. So then you had your Indiana Jones moment where Jake attempted to light 6 sticks of dynamite with his by dropping his flaming sword to knock on the door and see if it would open, and then running away from it. And he rolled really well, but still ended up resulting in him quite literally being on 1 HP. And Jake also had a crack at seducing the door, which was one of my just all-time favorite moments of the entire episode. But it did appear that as a group, you reached a conclusion that after all of your investigations, etc., that the door wouldn't open for you without the proper key was what you reached as a group consensus. And the last guess I heard from you, and please correct me if I'm wrong, as I was jotting down my notes, was that you came to the conclusion that a dragon appeared to open the door by pressing its head on it or pushing its head into it. I forget exactly what I think it was Zach said. Evidenced by the scrape marks that a few of you found on the floor and the way the metal on the door inverted. If I'm wrong on jotting that down, let me know. That's what I had down as the last kind of conversation and discussion your group had. Then leaving the door, you retraced all of your steps. You re-emerged at Glimmer's shop to find that she and Gregory had headed off to the pub. So you followed. You found yourself at the Griffin's Rest Inn viewing party with episode 2 of the fall season Earth about to start. As you enter the inn, taking in the crammed bodies and massive projection of the episode on one of the walls, you also were able to, take in the hubbub and the noise and the conversation, the muted music that sounded like it was a band of some kind playing up on the second level, or the mezzanine level of the inn. It's a large building with at least 2 levels. You can smell the sweat, the acrid smell of the smoke from a large fireplace next to the bar, and the bar itself, despite the bodies that are packed into that room, even from the entrance that you've just sort of forced your way into, off to the right hand side is a huge round bar structure that's being serviced by what looks like 4 different bar attendants pouring drinks and handing them over at the all around that massive circular bar. Food seems to be available from somewhere, and this, from what you can see, the limited view you've got of the food and the smells, but it seems to be that whoever runs the kitchen certainly seems to favor a menu that is along the lines of some kind of Brazilian style barbecue. If you've ever seen or been to one of those, where it's essentially meat, and more different types of meat and sauces, seems to be the dominant fare in the inn. Through those crowds, you can see like there's very solid timber furniture. There's chairs, tables, stools. There's beer barrels of different sizes that are being used as tables and chairs. And the barrels seem really familiar to you guys because they're the same design as the ones in the cellar, although most of them are much smaller than the one that you went swimming in and then fell out of. Um, And as you take all this in, where we left off, you spied Glimmer up on Gregory's shoulders. And as the Boreant Corporation fish logo came onto the screen, you see and you hear her scream out, "Fuck you, you fishy cunts," and throw her full stein of beer with surprising strength to smash onto the screen. And at that, the whole venue that you could have heard a pin drop momentarily goes silent, and then there is a huge wave of noise as everyone erupts into cheers and drinks are being clashed together and fluids going everywhere, liquor of all different kinds sloshing out and around and adding to the smell of the room and the tackiness of the timber floor, which is clearly not the first time it's had something spilled on it. And turning to pour herself another stein, Glimmer spies you. You will easily see her noticing you and see her enthusiastically waving you over towards the space around her and Gregory, who seems to have created a bit of room around himself. So, what would you guys like to do?
Meat. Jonas, being the avid lover of food, probably looks at Alea and goes, "Meat?
Mate?
Meat." So we're gonna mosey on over and try and procure some fine cooked flesh, if that's okay.
It's fine there. So the two of you are heading over towards the bar.
That's where the food is.
That you couldn't see, or you can't see where the food is coming from. You can see it on the tables. You
Oh, I
can
can
see
smell
there's
it.
people carrying it. You can definitely smell it, but the bar is the
Cool.
logical spot to head
We're
towards. There's
making
definitely
inquiries about
transactions happening at the bar.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Let's
all right.
do that. Let's head that way.
So Glimmer's waving you guys over, and the two of you split off and start sort of trying to force your way through the very densely packed.
Buzz coming through.
Yeah, let you guys head over that way. So
Tap on that
Zachary
shoulder.
and
Go this
Jake,
way.
Mm,
what would you
mm.
each or together like to do? I'm asking you together because
Shots.
Jake of late has been
shots,
symbiotically
shots,
attached to
shots,
Zach.
shots.
Yeah, it's been a very stressful few days down underground in that tunnel, and yeah,
I want to
think
see a badger do shots.
I don't think Zach would want to turn into a badge. I yeah, I think yeah, it's time to unwind a bit and yeah, just do normal shots, maybe.
If you're down for
Um,
shots, then Jake will lead you to go do shots.
Let's go.
All right, so the two at the front, the unlikely pairing, the larger, the smaller, are weaving their way to the bar on the hunt for food, and the two coming behind are on the hunt for some shots. All right. Okay, so Glimmer sees you guys head off, and he has waved to you guys, but nothing seems. She doesn't seem too perturbed. She was halfway through pouring herself a beer and just sort of gave you guys a wave and was calling you over, but sort of shrugs a little bit, keeps on pouring, surprisingly strong. And you got that from how she threw this massive glass, liter at least of beer at the wall, and she is quite comfortably pouring and holding and managing all of this. Very, very sprightly for advanced years. All right, so Fokionis and Ali, you guys are at the head of this current procession. So getting to the bar, like you do need to queued up, and they do seem very efficient in the bar, and they're moving the crowds on fairly quickly. You do pick up like you don't see any food changing hands with anyone. But as you're getting closer to the bench, it does appear that there is definitely people paying for food there, and there appears to be some sort of token or item that they're getting in exchange for that. But you don't get a really close look with your pair of passives at that. But you can definitely hear that people are ordering and paying for food and drinks, and that I just lost my train of thought. And that the bar staff kind of seem to be working different sections of the bar. So there's 4 of them, and they each basically seem to be taking a quarter of the bar. So where you're heading up towards, as you guys come in, just hold on 1 second. Let me switch over to the bar now that I've done the recap. You are heading over to a section of the bar that is being helmed by a stocky male dwarf, who's you can hear his voice long before you can see him, and he appears, seeing as how high he is above the bar and the height of the bar itself, which is over Alia's head. He definitely appears to have some sort of I think some sort of ramp has been built into that section that is giving him the ability to stand, where almost his waist is above the bar level. He's almost eye to eye with Phocyonis, which would not normally be the case for a male dwarf. But you do get up there. The crowd is moving rapidly and being shifted along. Money's changing hands, and you get there and get this rough grunt of, "Next, what do you want?"
Well, my fine man whose beard speaks of wisdom, I would love some of that meat that you keep to be serving everyone else. Whom do I have to pay or do something to get some, please?
You see him watching, listening, and I can tell the opinion he's forming of Phocyonis is that he's definitely getting a read on you, attempting to speak very intelligently in a bar, and eloquently. Points to the a section just off to the side, and there's basically 3 different sizes there in terms of your earthly familiarity. I don't know what your state or territory calls them, but you've got your big kind of beer steins, then you've got your pint, your sort of Guinness size glass, and then the smallest beer glass equivalent that is available. And you're looking around, you can see some are glass, some are wood, some are creatures' horns. Like there's all different receptacles for these drinks, but the general sizes are those 3. And pointing to those, the indication you get is that essentially the prices seem, even with your limited awareness, quite steep but simplistic. So they're 1, 2, and 3 gold. But he does put to you guys that if you want to pay 5 gold for the big one, you can just keep on getting it refilled with no extra charge.
With meat?
Did you say mead or meat?
Meat.
Well, he and I both thought you said mead.
Meat.
I'll pay $5
$5
to endlessly fill a fucking cup with
Yes.
meat.
Well,
Fucking oath.
okay. Let me try again. Honor acts through you, my good man, and I will take you up on the largest fucking horn that you have there of whatever alcoholic-based beverage might please me. But can I also order some meat-based food, please? It smells so good. It's killing me.
I like this one. So he's already pouring one for Alia and yourself. You can't quite tell whether he has actually heard what you've said and is deliberately, basically upselling, or whether he genuinely hasn't. But he's under the impression at this point you've got 2, and as he reaches underneath, they're glasses that have got like a golden sheen to them. They're not gold, but the way that the light is being reflected on them, they're quite distinctive. So you've now both got these 2 full massive steins of what he tells you is Stoneheart Special Ale, his own special brew.
I like
And
it.
you've now got the unlimited refills, and then he slides you across a token, Phocyonis, and explains that, take this, the meat will come, 1 plate, 2, or keep it coming.
Keep it coming, my good man.
All right, let's call it 20 gold, and we'll supply both. On your way.
The best money I've spent since I've got here. Your clan is honorable, my good dwarf.
Slight chuckle, and he's already so you've basically got this token that is essentially, in terms of like things that you're familiar with, It looks like a chunk of opal, but there's like a slight blue glow to it, and then you've got your 2 full glasses. And the very brief explanation you got was just take that and keep it with you. The meat will come to you.
Meat
So
ready.
as you're doing this, Zach and Jake, you guys, as you're heading to the bar, you can see where Fokionis and Alia have headed towards. So they've gone over to the section where the dwarf was. Do you wish to take kind of the same spot, or you can also see that there is a sort of a middle-aged, somewhere a bit hard to tell with the the lighting and the atmosphere and the bit of smoke that's in the air, but what looks to be like a human female of somewhere around 50 years of age. Is a bit of a gray in her hair, and she's manning the section basically, or working the section that's but directly beside the one that those two went to. So you can head to where the dwarf is, or where the human female is. That at the moment there's basically an opening there, or you can wait with your companions. Just need to know where you're heading to the bar, Zachary and Jake.
Yeah, we'll just stay with our companions, I think.
Gotta get more
I-
people shots.
No.
All right, so Fokionis and Arnie, you've basically sort of been shuffled off to the side of the bar where basically those glasses are lined up to show you the sizes. So that's kind of where you were directed towards as you had your stuff handed to you. It was a none too subtle, like moving it down that way to keep the flow of traffic through. So as you guys are sort of sliding down a bit, Jake and Zach, you guys are basically next ones up. You would have caught the tail end of the meat prices, excuse me, but you wouldn't have caught the offer of the 5 gold steins as you rock up, and the gruff dwarf and his big bushy beard and leather apron on summons you guys forwards next up. And next. Oh, you're a lovely couple. What can I get you?
Got him.
Got him.
You have been arm in arm, Jake and Zachary, for a extended length of time, and he is quite open-minded. Like he's
Yeah, and I hear that.
Lovely as we may be, my handsome fellow, I am unfortunately currently single.
It's a shame. Sounds like you need to drown your sorrows. What can I get you?
As much alcohol as I can buy.
Make that 2.
Who is much alcohol as you can buy? All right, so you guys basically get the same info. You got the bottomless beer glass. So it looks you guys up and down. Jake in particular with your the passive charisma level that you have, sort of picks up on the tone, and then pulls out quite a large bottle from under the counter. Goes, all right, you can take the beer in those, or we can start filling the steins with these. And it's just this, there's no label on it. It is just a clear, what looks to be about a liter. It is a clear liquor, and curled up at the bottom of the bottle appears to be something really small, really lizard-like, but it's got wings.
Well, we're here for a good time, not a long time. May as well.
Yeah, I'm not watching this next episode sober. That's for sure.
Wait, did you want one of these too? You can keep them 100 gold. I'll keep those coming all night.
Yeah, 100 gold. Done.
All right, 2 of those. So he's got.
Knock it off.
So that's 100 gold each. He's got the bottles have come up, and coming from underneath you guys, the 2 more of these glasses. So the beer ones had like an amber shine to them. These ones have got more like a sunsetty pink shimmer to the glasses, and they actually taper towards the top. Don't know why, but they do. Then they're glass again. But he also winks at Jake, but then takes another look at you, Zach, and goes, "Oh, you might be needing these too," and brings up 2 buckets. If you spew in those, empty them out the back.
Drinks are gonna get smashed. Jake would like to swipe the bucket in a beautiful motion and directly eye contact to this beautiful bearded man.
Yep.
Now, before I get completely smashed, while I am semi-sober, I would like to let you know that your beard, my sir, is fantastic, brilliant. Just needed to let you know.
It begins like sort of semi unconsciously stroking. Nice of you to notice. Victor Stoneheart, don't have time to chat. Head bartender. Swing by another time. Next one's on me.
Ooh.
Hey!
I'll make sure to keep you to your word.
And you are.
I
I'm
am
back
Jake,
later.
but I can be anything you need me to be.
Looks a little bit confused at that. Well,
And then I'd like to turn into him.
takes a go.
Oh my god.
Look, all I need you to be was a paying customer, but that's a neat trick.
You just wait to see what else I can do for you.
Well, what I'd like to see you do now, though, is shuffle that ass across. Next up.
Oh.
Jake will even take the drink from them.
Sorry, what was that? I missed that.
He'll gracefully move away. Don't want to annoy the man while he's working.
Sashaying in the tattered remains of your boob tube. Yep. Well, no, sorry, what wasn't a boob? I forget what you called that.
Something
top.
like that.
Serena. Yeah, I don't remember the proper name.
I will also
but
change
should
back
say
to Jake on my way out.
it. Excellent. And he's already busy serving the next customers. So at the moment, you've got there's 2 of you have got a food token with an endless plate of meat that is apparently coming. And then Jake and Zachary, you've got a massive bottle, a strangely tapered glass, and a spew buckets. However, you're juggling those in the crook of your arms, and all right, you're well and truly armed. Please mark off your various amounts. So
I've taken 20 gold off for us.
it was 100 gold each for Zach and Jake, because the bartender was, again, deliberately or otherwise, under the understanding that you both wanted the $100 endless liquor bottle service.
Jesus Christ.
Hey,
Then
I'm
you've
happy
got
with that.
your
Endless,
meat
like,
and beers.
beer steins and beers. Yeah. Meat stein.
All right, so you've kind of got like if you're looking at the stream, it doesn't have the crowd in it. This is the best I could find to kind of give you a visual representation of the Griffin's Rest on a much smaller scale, but it's the closest I could find to. I don't know. I don't have an artist to reference to it, or I'd give them reference for it. But it was an image I found online to give you guys a bit of a visual. So you guys are currently off to the right hand side. Glimmer is back, sort of out of shot, closer to the front left. She was near the entrance. You guys have got a little bit of space of quiet, but the entire inn, it is packed. Like, this is clearly the place to be at the moment, with the episode 2 airing about to start. And as you look at the screen from where you guys currently are, you can see that the timer is sitting at somewhere around just under 30 minutes. So from when you've had that 2-hour timer, by the time you got to the bar, got your orders, etc.,
Oh fuck, we're gonna end up wasted.
you've got about
It's
got
good
about
stuff.
half an hour
Alright.
before the show actually starts. And you can clearly see Glimmer on Gregory's shoulders. Like, he's not at his full height, but he's definitely at a size that has got a clear space around them. They're at one of the, like, beer barrel tables, so standing tables, and Glimmer's in her little perch on Gregory. She's got a clear view, and you got a clear view of her heartily sinking into her beer.
All I think about right now is
Is this life imitating art? Art imitating life? Eraser?
Nah, if this dungeon starts in half an hour and we're all getting wasted, we're in danger.
We just want the
The
meat.
the recap episode starts in half an hour.
Yeah, the
Oh,
dungeon
that's
may
all right
be
then.
a bit after.
I think we should go check in with Glimmer. What do you think? Is that not why we came? Because there was a sign that said, "I'm here."
Can I
Does it go back
go
to
offer
restaurant?
Glimmer some of this fancy drink?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Head on over, Jake.
My dear Glimmer, would you like some of this thing?
Thing.
she so she sort of like every now and then was checking on you guys and does sort of see you coming across as you're weaving your way, something you're very skilled at, Jake, where you know you could easily duck, change, imitate, mimic. You could be any part of any crowd, so you've got the easiest time navigating this, you know, group of largely drunk, but if not drunk, definitely cheery group of people. Every now and then there's an odd look, especially if you know, in typical Jake fashion, flash into a mirror image of someone in their group as you're navigating your way through. But yeah, rest of your group, you guys can decide, and I'll come back to you in a moment whether you follow Jake or whether you're still at the bar. But as you head over there, holding this bottle aloft, Glimmer gets. You can see her lips move, but you can't quite catch what's being said, or even if there was, you know, audible said audibly. But Gregory sort of shrinks down a bit to where she's a bit closer to your level. Jake, and you, oh, so good to see you. What could you say that again? It's a bit loud.
My dear, would you like some of this concoction?
She takes a look, taps the side of the bottle, and he goes, "Oh, you got some of a little splash of the devil's tongue for me. That's one for you young people, that one. But just a little." And holds out it's still beer in her stein. There's about room for, you know, maybe there's about a centimeter of space at the top of the stein if you were to choose to like do a maximum pour.
Well, I'll give her the amount she requires.
So as you keep on pouring, the like a little bit of a whirlpool sort of starts as you're spinning it around, and the whatever that lizard is sort of is moved around by the flow of the alcohol to almost look like it's alive in there as it spins around. And then as you tip the bottle back after giving Glimmer a very generous pour, to the point that like her eyes are about as wide as you can see them, that you've seen them. As like, and just as she's about to put her hand over the top, you reach the brim of the top of the beer.
Like,
Like, oh, and at
Oh,
this point,
that
like she does get the hand over, but her hand is so tiny. Like you could have easily, even if you know hadn't been full, poured around her fingers with ease, because these are big glass she's holding. But the just from that amount that you poured in the stein, her glasses are starting to fog up, and your eyes, Jake, begin to involuntarily water a little. As you get a whiff of the strength of this. It doesn't smell unpleasant. It actually smells quite enticing, but there is the definite bite of very strong liquor behind as you
like you
finish your pour. They
said,
got
for the
that'll do.
young
Thank you
people.
for they. Yep. Woo. Might just sit on this one a little bit, Gregory. Let's just go up a bit. And she sort of it's still it's not too far above, but the glass is definitely out of easy pouring reach. Glad you guys. I'm glad you made it okay. I kept a bit of space. I'm glad you saw my sign. Come on over. Come on over.
I'm gonna
So
find
that's
a comfy
Jake
place
is
to
there. What did
sit.
the rest of you guys? Sorry, Jake. You finish up there.
Oh, I'm just gonna find a comfy place to sit while the others figure out.
Surely we watched you go over, did we not? Or no? Or did we know?
Well,
I mean, are we still separate?
well, this is now. So you guys, Jake didn't say anything about hiding. You know where he was going. He just
Right.
headed off. So you guys
Jake
were all
is a
there
very
together.
loud man. You probably noticed.
Fair. I say we move that way. I have beverage. I have token for meat. It's all good. if I have a seat, then happy unit.
All right. So Alia, Zachary, are you guys going to sort of follow along behind the Jake as he's
Well, Ali is going to go
through
wherever
the crowd?
the meat token goes. That seems fair, doesn't it? Like,
No, yeah, I've just been like looking for a place for us to sit
and we had one all
together.
along.
Yeah.
Well, there is definitely that space. The rest of you get there basically at the point that Jake has just finished pouring and Glimmers said thank you, and you can see you can't actually see her eyes at the moment that you arrive because they have the fumes of the alcohol have fogged them. But you do as you guys are arriving, she's cleaning the glasses off one-handed and still holding on to a drink, and there's definitely some some fumes coming off that you wouldn't normally expect from a beer. But again, that tang of the liquor is still there, but it is not unpleasant. It is a very enticing smell. You can't quite place it just at the moment, but it smells very nice, if a bit strong, with the little bite you're getting from the strength of the alcohol still lingering in the air. So there's room around there for all of you. She's had Gregory keep space, so you basically got this standing barrel that comes up to about Foccionus's somewhere around your belly button, so easily comfortable standing height for all of you. For Alia, it's above your head, but there are also varying heights of like cut off beer barrel stools around it as well. So very easy if you want Ali to sit, or of course you've had other options of being picked, carried, lifted, fighting, etc. But there's space to either sit or stand around with Glimmer and Gregory.
I'm a sit.
You gonna sit? Yep.
Yep.
So I would assume Ali is picking one that where you can sit. You would have easy reach for food and drinks on the table when they
Yes.
arrive. Yeah, figured that. So definitely, jumps up easily onto one of the taller ones. So Ali's got one of the higher barrel seats. The rest of you can position yourselves around as you see fit. And there's now, so in addition to, it looks like that Glimmer has gotten a couple of the similar sort of gold sheen steins, and they're sitting on the table. So you haven't seen anyone refill it, but there's two full ones now back on the table. So one full one on the table. Maybe it's Gregory's, but the second one she has, and somewhere I don't know where that third one came from that got hurled at the screen. But she's got her vapor added ones, and you've got your menagerie of drinks and spew buckets, and now one open liquor bottle, and the little winged lizard inside has settled back down to the bottom now that you've stopped pouring. Almost immediately just curled back in the bottom of the bottle.
Wait, it's alive?
Not from what you could tell, but for Jake, and you see it just as Jake's putting it back down, but when Jake was pouring Glimmer's drink, Jake specifically saw that it almost looked like the little lizard was swimming around as the liquid poured. It didn't just do a straight pour. It was like a little whirlpool as it spun out into the glass, and then as the bottle went back down, it then spun back down to the bottom of the bottle. And Jake, you were the only one who caught what Glimmer called the drink, and none of the rest of you asked what any of the drinks were. So, Jake, you're the only one who's aware that liquor was called Devil's Tongue. All right, what do you guys want to do?
I'm watching the bar like a hawk, waiting for my meat.
Exactly. I think we're sitting there having a side conversation without, our eyes moving, going, "Oh, hope there's like some chivapcha cheese, maybe, or some. I really would like some lamb, maybe something to do with garlic. What about you? I wonder if they put bread with it. Oh my God, please be some gyros bread
And some olive oil with
Oh,
to go
fuck
with
yeah.
that bread.
Maybe some garlic sauce.
Ali's got some class and taste for a raccoon. As you guys are having that conversation,
With a side of
the
trash.
the beer steins for the two of you who got the gold sort of sheen to the beers, just like Thor style in if you've seen it with Doctor Strange, just fills up from the bottom. So
Okay.
after they've been sitting on the bench top for about 10-15 seconds, they just fill. The stone that you got given still just has that soft, sort of dull glow to it. It hasn't done anything spectacular itself. But your beers have, within seconds of being settled on the table, have filled themselves.
Lovely. Do we see any action with regards to platters of meat? Is there any more food coming out? Is there anyone else getting food? Am I getting green-eyed? Like,
All right.
is that
So
gonna be a fight?
I'm going to get you to do, because you specifically, especially with like wanting to see if other people are getting their food. Can you give me a perception roll, please? Because you haven't noticed it passively,
Roll
and
the crap out
you
of
didn't
this.
really pick up on how this worked. You've just seen different people with food, and you didn't really know how it worked until you've got your token.
Oh, okay, perception. Oh, come on.
And unfortunately, there's no advantages to the Hero's Feast on your perception rolls. I'm sorry.
That's
Which you
okay.
guys still have that Hero's Feast, remember, as well.
I was 19.
19. So you notice, because you're only half paying attention to
Trying
like
to
the
fuck around
drool
with
that's
food.
coming down your chin, and you and Ali are sort of giving your wish list of what what's happening with the food. But with the 19, you do notice a couple of tables over that similar sort of token to yours, actually looks almost identical. That token started to flash as you were looking. And then after it flashed, you're not exactly sure, but it was somewhere between 5 and 10 times that it flashed. It then basically instantaneously changed and erupted into this piled platter of meats and breads and dipping sauces, and you can't really tell, but there might even be some olive oil in there. But it's a huge tray of different sections, and each of the sections has a different, what appears to be a different type of meat in it. Now, the people who are at that table appeared not to know what to expect, because after it had done its blinking and then erupted out into the platter of the meat, they were showered with their drinks and things that have been rested on that table, all got knocked into their laps, because the space that they were occupying is now occupied with this platter that's about a bit over a meter in length. So it's a significant,
Right.
significant platter.
Several things. Fokionis, very excited about this. Reaches over, just grabs Alia by the head, turns around and goes, "Look, it's a fucking magic stone grill. Oh my god. It just glowed, and then boom, meat." Puts it back down, immediately starts picking up drinks. Fucking pick your drinks up, everyone. Then I just
Beer shower for the win.
lowered myself down to the level of the stone, just looking at the stone in wonder, going,
And at the moment, you're the only one who really caught all of that. You've sort of filled Ali in a little bit, but for the rest of you, you've just sort of seen Fokionis half paying attention, looking around, and then all of a sudden, he's just like, he's grabbing all your drinks. You've gone from, none of you've seen 2 beers fill up, but Zachary and Jake, you haven't even got to pour your liquor, let alone even get a hint of using your spew buckets, and then all of a sudden, Fokionis is just wah! So what are you guys doing amidst all of this?
Hey, what?
wait,
The
try.
beer shower.
You wanted a drink, you could have asked.
I will give you your drink back, but you can't put it on the table.
On the table?
Where else are
Don't-
we
don't put
supposed
it
to
on-
be?
You can fucking hold it, or I can hold it for you.
Do we need to get, like, coasters?
No.
Like,
Can I
Coasting.
please
You can
have
fucking
that
go
one?
out of here, Chance.
You can put it in your lap for all I care.
Just don't put it on the table. Trust me.
on the...
Oh my
Am I
God.
holding it, or are you holding it? What's going on? Tell me. I'm
If you're
not putting
gonna
it
put
down.
it on the table, let me
Alright,
know and
I'll
I'll try and
hold it.
find you a trash bag.
As you guys are doing that, and Fokionis is currently like clutching all of that miscellaneous stuff, the stone that is in the center of your table starts to blink.
No,
And
watch.
Gregory just moves and picks up the second glass there, the second stein that belongs to
Gregory, you
to
are
Glimmer.
Noah, aren't you,
He
buddy?
just moves it out of the way and just as holding it there. And that stone has started to blink.
Give me back the alcohol.
I will pass it to you, but do not put it down.
I
And
won't.
one of
I'll
your-
hold it between my lips.
I mean, okay. Cool trick.
And as you're doing that and handing it all across, the same thing that you saw happen a couple of tables over, then comes onto your table, and you've got several kilograms of meat. To be fair, like this is a long tray, and it is, it's about 50 centimeters wide by about a meter long, and it's sectioned off into what appears to be, from the smells and the look of it, it looks to be 8, maybe 7 or 8 different types of meats and a whole range of different sauces. Some that you're reasonably confident that you can identify, like you think that there's some things there that smell like beef, and that seems to look like something that's chicken or fish like, and
Don't care.
they're all
Smells
different
like
types
garlic, I'm in there.
of meats. It's different herbs and spices through them. Some you recognize, some you don't. Smells that you recognize, smells that you don't. And again, dipping sauces that you got that same sort of thing where for each line of meat, there's a sauce that goes with it, and there's all different
Is
types
there
and
bread?
colors of those. And Alia, right next to you, is that what appears to be olive oil
Bread?
as one of your dips.
Bread?
And there's breads scattered in amongst like the lines of the meat. There is, thinking of it as like basically a massive cooked hot
Charcuterie
steaming
board.
meat platter with with a bunch of different breads through it, different consistencies from soft through to hard and dried, and colors and textures. You got a lot of different options.
Lovely.
No cheese though.
I literally almost throw their drinks back to them, slam my down, grab piece of bread, start loading meat.
Mort doesn't walk in with cheese right now. I'll be very disappointed.
Oh god, meat! I fucking told you he's a magic stone! I want to keep it. Does it work? I wonder if it works everywhere.
Maybe if you eat all of the meat, you might find that magic stone again.
Yeah,
But for the moment, it doesn't appear to be on the table any longer.
We just get like 10 of them into the dungeon with us.
Yes.
So Jake
I
and
can't
Zach,
talk, I'm eating.
you've got your you've got your one open, but Jake's bottle is open with, it's a big bottle. Like it's like airline sized bottles. Like we're talking would be at least 1.5 liters, possibly more, in each one of these bottles. It's difficult to tell just because of the the shape and maybe the thickness of the glass, or it can't quite tell the exact volume of it, but it's substantial, and so you can barely tell, Jake, that yours has any taken out for the the around an inch that you poured into Glimmer's Stein. Didn't make much
Hopefully,
of a
we'll be
dent
able
in
to
it.
tell it a second.
And she's
Okay,
watching you
hear
guys
me
with some
out.
amusement. Yeah, Jake, over to you.
Hear me out, Magic Man. How much do you think you can keep down if we just drink? I am willing to give you
You just
gold and make this a wager.
a wager. Yes.
Like 10 gold or something.
50 points to Gryffindor.
Yeah, sure. That's 10 gold. Let's go drink for drink. First
Crazy
one to
man,
throw up
what are you doing?
loses. Alright.
We're doing this now. No backing out. Time for some devil's tongue.
All right, tell me how you're doing this. And is anyone else taking part in this, or is it just Jake and?
Huh, eating.
Oh, no, it's just Jake and Zach at this point. Sorry, I do apologize. That's between the two of you. So you've at the moment the glasses you've got. Yeah, that's gold. The glasses you've got, they're essentially the same size as the steins. Maybe not quite as high a volume just because of the tapered nature from thick at the bottom to narrow at the top. But they're a fair size. Are you going to like fill a glass each and get sculling, or what are you guys doing here?
I'd like to stare him in the eyes.
Oh.
What if we go straight from the bottle?
But then like how we keep track of like how much you're drinking? Like we gotta.
Well, if you finish the bottle and I finish the bottle, then you win because I gave some to the grandmother.
Fuck looked up for a moment.
Oh,
I know I'm the dumb
oh,
one,
fuck.
but isn't it a never-ending bottle? Goes back to eating.
If that's like vodka in that'd be like 30 drinks. Something ridiculous. I think I'd die if I did that.
I mean, there's one way to find out. I want to drink enough that when I light my sword back up, I go with it.
I don't want to have survived 2 levels of dungeons to die of alcohol poisoning.
Fine, not from the bottle then. I guess we'll just use the glasses.
While they're arguing,
Yep.
can I be stealthy and take a sip of this bottle that they're arguing over?
Give me a sleight of hand check to see if you can sneak it past Jake. And Jake, if you would like to catch or actually give me a perception. I just want to see if you notice this happening, and then you can decide what to do about it.
13.
Oh, well, fuck.
So, Alia, paws greasy and slippery from the olive oil that you've just been dunking bread into, and just miscellaneous things that you grabbed that hot and smelt all right and tasted okay. Like, you're mixing meats. There is no decorum or class into you filling your cheeks and your stomach. So as you try and stealthily sneak that bottle and grab it from Jake, like, it is almost a juggling act that you're doing across the table. Jake, you've clearly noticed this. Just about everyone at the table has noticed this, maybe with the exception of Fokionis, who is still in his Homer Simpson mode. Would you like to just let Alia go, or how would you like to react to seeing this happen?
While I continue arguing with Zach, I will just pluck the bottle up slightly, pour some into my glass, and give her the glass to have a little sip.
So catching the bottle just before it ends up upending all over the meat, which could have been an interesting flavoring to your meal. Alia, instead, you have Jake just definitely catch that bottle and pour you however much he has poured you to hand you the glass carefully across.
How
You
much
gonna have
would
a
you
whack
pay
at
me
it?
to shot this with a straight face?
Nothing. But if you don't make a straight face, then you won't get any more. So
Ooh. All right, are you going to attempt this, Alia?
Yeah, go on, let's see if I can do it with a straight face.
All right, give me a performance check.
That was a 16.
Yep. So maintaining eye contact with Jake the entire time, somehow, with this, this on you, this glass is a two-handed effort to live, but you find that the way that it tapers to the top actually makes it easier for you to, with your raccoon mouth, to cup and get the shot in. And the smell of it hits your nostrils and your eyes before you even get the drink to your lips. Like, again, it smells really nice. It's got like a fruity aroma to it. And then when it hits, it burns. It burns from your nostrils all the way down your throat, but it's a pleasant burn. It feels nice. It tastes nice. Everything in you is wanting to sneeze, and to like let some of these tears from the strength of the alcohol fumes out. But you hold it all in and calmly put the the glass back down in front of Jake, not blinking, not breaking eye contact the entire time.
Can't believe I pulled that off.
how much more do you want?
Go on, give me another.
I will double whatever I gave her the first time.
Oh, fuck.
Let's call it. This will help me in the measurement. So we'll call the first one you did around 100 mils. So it was a decent slug. So now we're now up to it's 200 mils. So bring it up to 300 total. So are you attempting to straight face this as well, Alia, or are you
Yep.
just looking to
Yeah, let's
push
go
through
on.
it? All right, I'm gonna get you give me that performance check again. And after you've done that, I also want you to do a Constitution saving throw because you're
Oh,
now
well,
up to
fuck.
a fair slug. All right, so we got the performance. Now give me
And
the
a
Constitution
Constitution.
save, and you don't get any advantage from the hero's feast for that. Okay, so for the performance this time, as you've got that double slug, you hold it, you fine through to that same amount as you were at the first time. But as you get into the second half of the drink and you're tipping it up to get the rest through, some of it splashes up directly into your nose, and you can't help. And in your nose, it's up in
I'm
your eyes.
spraying
You've got
everybody.
it on your face, and as you're putting the glass down, you just this huge sneeze towards Jake. There is no straight face. You've just done the punch as Jake just gets this face full of pleasant smelling but very strong liquor. But with your Constitution saving throw, you feel a warm, pleasant glow, and you've definitely got a bit of a happy buzz going on, but you suffer no ill effects from the quite large quantity of alcohol you consume for your size. And Jake, there is definitely a dint out of the top of your bottle now after those 3 drinks that you poured.
Knew that was coming.
Alright, I'm gonna take this back before you sneeze in the cup.
Too late.
So, Zacky boy, glasses, yeah?
Raccoon tongue now.
How well
Yeah,
you do,
glasses.
Zach.
Alright, let's go.
Are we going full
All right,
glasses?
tell me what do you do? Because Jake's got a bottle that is now about somewhere around a quarter or a third. Like there's definitely a decent chunk is out of the top of Jake's bottle. So you guys, excuse me, still doing the bottle, or you're pouring it into glasses, or what are you doing?
Glasses,
Pour
I
into
believe.
glasses.
Yeah. Are we doing a full glass?
Yeah.
Great face.
Time to chug a full glass of Devil's Tongue.
All right. So as you guys are going and you tip it up to pour, you notice something interesting, Jake, as you're pouring. That as you're filling the stein, or both you and Zachary, you and Jake notice this in yours, and the other, you guys see it as well. It's very clear as the bottles are upended. Even Ali with blurry eyes and snot and liquor everywhere. As the bottles are tipping into the stein, that little winged lizard is spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning faster and faster and faster, and it gets closer and closer and closer down to the lip of the bottle. The lip of the bottle itself into the glass. And despite the fact that Jake's bottle was much more empty than Zachary's when the pouring started, by the time they're both finished, the lizards reach the lip, when spinning in a whirlpool fashion, then whoop, into the glass itself, and the color of the drink, now that the stein is full, as soon as that little lizard plimps into it, becomes this iridescent red.
Ooh.
So, but you've now both got completely full steins with the narrow tip from the thick
Do we eat
base.
the lizard?
All I thought just then was frog in a blender.
Well, the lizard is, you saw it go into the glass. You saw the liquid in the glass change color, but it is not an opaque color. It's a very solid color. So, you can investigate further, but you at the moment it went into that glass, and you know that as soon as it was full, and the lizard thing exited the bottle into the glass, it changed to that color.
Can I wave Glimmer down real quick? She'll know.
Yeah. So you get her attention. She's like, she is delicately like lifting her glasses, and she'd gone from what you saw was like these big slugs of beer that she was taking to now she's just. Oh yes, Jake, love, yes.
Do we eat the lizard?
If you're very lucky, yes. I see you've got a. Oh, you filled the glass. It's activated now. It's ready for you. Very good move. Who told you that you needed to do that? That's experience drinking that one.
Oh, you know me,
I feel like this
just
is
a
gonna
real
go real bad
alcoholic.
real quick.
Real party man over here. No, I just wanted to chug it all, Glimmer. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie to you.
Oh, bravo. I tell, if you can both do that, 50 gold each, extra 50 to whoever gets it down first.
Oh my god, the gold went up, guys. Are you ready for this, Zach? Oh, what
Let's
tomorrow
go.
is.
Let's do it. Just
Do you want to
Do
like
it.
cock arms and
Do
down
it.
it?
no.
it.
It's use fun to like cover my nose. Or...
Should we get Glimmer to count us down then? She's here. She's
Yeah.
invested.
You
Yeah.
see, hearing this, so you both, your arm in arm, you've each got your glasses, am I correct? Sort of ready, poised to go. Is
Yeah.
that right? All right. So you see Glimmer just carefully, not sure exactly how, because it's sort of out of your sight, but she's rests her beer mug on what appears to be Gregory's shoulder, the far shoulder. And yeah, all right. 3. And then she just shoves the glasses and upends them from the bottom so that you guys have your heads tipped back
Hell yeah, let's go.
and are immediately starting to drink. All right. As you're going through here,
She's a
can I
party
get you? We're
girl,
going to go
Yeah.
through. This is a big glass, so both of you, as you're holding it together, that liquid seems a little bit thicker than what it seemed when it poured out. For the two of you who aren't looking at the ceiling with this this red fiery liquid now pouring down your throats, you guys notice that those 2 bottles have refilled like the beers did, but there's no lizard in the bottom of them. That little winged lizard
What?
hasn't refilled with those bottles at
Good
this
job.
point. So for the 2 of you who are currently in the sculling contest, I need, first off, you're going to do a performance check each. So we're going to see how you're performing in this sculling contest.
Good.
21.
Oof.
God. 7.
Okay. Jake appears to have essentially like just dislodged part of his throat, and the liquid just seems to be pouring straight down. Like he is, for the old people in Australia, he's like Bob Hawke with a beer at the cricket. He has just unhinged, and it is just pouring straight down. Zach is gulping at his drink, like trying to keep up, and the tears are sort of starting to form in his eyes, and he's definitely falling behind a little bit. Can I get, just so I can keep track of this, can you guys also give me a Constitution saving throw, as you've managed to down about a quarter of your drink, which is a substantial volume.
Spit it. Spit it.
Did you say saving throw?
Oh my
Yes.
god.
18.
6.
That's just me tracking those at the moment. So, soldering on, Zach is sort of you just seem kind of thinks it subtly, but you can see sort of trying to, the arm that's linked in with Jake's trying to just maybe get a little bit of purchase on the table, but can't quite reach because Jake just has him locked in place as he's like glug glug. Actually, no, Jake's not glug glug glug. Jake's just going as it is disappearing down his gullet. All right, let's keep going. Give me your next performance as we're heading towards the halfway point of your glasses. It doesn't appear at this point that much has disappeared because you've
shit.
upended and tapered. All right, what do we got?
Another 7.
Zach.
This
How
one.
about a nat 20?
Oh fuck.
At this point, as you guys are drinking, Zach has just now hit where around a quarter of the drink is gone, but Jake has actually sort of shifted his mouth out a little bit just to this big grin as he's drinking, and at this stage he is halfway through the drink and appears to be racing towards victory, taking in his surroundings, having a little bit of a laugh at Zach's expense, and has definitely noticed that Zach was trying to get some purchase and balance after the start, and that Zach is look like Zach clearly has a much stronger gag reflex than Jake does, because Jake has just almost, he's almost halfway through this drink, and Zach is barely stopping it from, almost he's one step shy of it either coming all over his face or back into the glass. Like, he's struggling. Drinking content.
Come on, Zach.
All right, give me your Constitution saving throw. He's
12.
11 and a 12. All right, Zach, Jake, you can feel it. Zach's he's weaving a little bit. Like, he's definitely struggling a little bit with the volume of the liquor. But you also notice that while her pressure on your glass is sort of almost non-existent, Glimmer still has her hand firmly on Zachary's glass, so that seems to be trying to help him out in this contest so that he can try and
Trying to
catch
drown him.
up.
Can
All
I
right.
slow down slightly and then also loosen my grip on him a little bit?
With a nat 20, I will definitely let you handicap yourself a little bit as we head into the next one. And Zach, you probably can't tell all that much, but you do notice that as you're all of these things are happening, your hand does manage to find purchase on the table, and you do steady yourself a little bit with your 11. And Jake, you're starting to feel that a pretty good buzz, but your body hasn't really had time to register just how much of this has hit you at the moment. All right, give me your next performance checks, you two. Zach keeps trying to glug, and Jake has almost sort of just let a slow trickle.
19.
20.
Nat 20 or
No,
2020?
just dirty 20.
And what was yours?
19.
Lily? 19. All right. So with a combination of Jake slowing down his race to the finish line and the pressure and newfound sort of balance and stability, Jake and Zachary are now almost neck and neck with a quarter of their glasses left to go. And so now everything is sort of pooled up in it. For the two of you looking in between mouthfuls of the things that you're eating and drinking, you notice that liquid seems to be getting a little bit thicker and a little bit darker the closer it gets towards the drink in the glass being finished. And we're now in the home stretch, so give me those Constitution saves, and then we'll do the last performance and see where we end up.
15.
14.
Right. So you both you're still on your feet. You've sort of managed to catch yourselves a little bit. I will say that
Delayed.
DC has been going up as you've been imbibing more of this liquor because of the night. But you're both still on your feet. You're both still drinking. Glimmer has sort of released the pressure on the glass a little bit, Zach, seeing you catch up, and she's also got a little bit of a smile and a wink towards you, Jake, seeing she's picked up on at least some of what you're doing. Let's give us the last performance check and see who takes it.
14.
Sorry. Math means slow brain. It's 18. That's what a +4 does.
Did you say 18?
What?
Sorry,
18.
Lily,
It
you're
was
breaking up a
8.
little bit.
18.
18. Okay. All right. And just so we can wrap this up as well, can you both give me your last Constitution save, please?
Don't be all fuck.
3.
5.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah.
this is gonna end up epic.
So as you guys are both like downing your drinks, Jake is just keeping an awareness of where Zach's at, and just at the last minute where it looks like Zach might just get ahead, and with his clumsy gulping style that seems to somehow be managing to keep up, Jake just smiles slightly, and the rest of the liquid disappears, and the other two of you watching, you also see as that last bit of liquid disappears, a little tail curl up into the glass and disappear down Jake's gullet with that liquid. And as that happens, Zach, a little bit more clumsy, a little bit more like, oh, at the end of it, same thing, manages to gulp it down, but there's a slight bulge in Zach's throat as that tail disappears, and there appears to be something else has gone down with it. But you both get your glasses down. You both settle back with a heavy thump into your chairs, and you are both now most definitely drunk. Like you have gone from you're holding it, but with the 3 and a 5 at the final, you are both considered drunk. The world has a very woozy glow to it. You're definitely feeling that those. It's good that you've got those buckets around just in case.
One.
But what I will say to both of you is that neither of you are feeling any of those sort of effects that you may have noticed from hangovers and things you've suffered in the past. You are not in any danger of alcohol poisoning because you both actually have immunity to poison at the moment, thanks to the hero's feast. So you've got all of the
Hey.
benefits of the inebriation, and you are
So that wears
both definitely drunk with the penalties that come with that. But you are well and truly socially lubricated at the moment. You are
Who won?
you are sozzled. As you thump back into the chairs, and as you're sort of like, as your body's rocking back, both of you almost simultaneously, Jake slightly ahead of Zachary, release these belches that are become flame that shoot up towards the roof of the Griffin's Inn, that is met with another resounding from the patrons, many of whom appear very clearly to know at least some of what has just transpired. And as you sort of rock forward again, Alia and Fokionis, Zachary and Jake haven't quite noticed this, and they probably won't until they talk. But both of them now have what appears to be a serpent's tongue of some kind, has
Ooh.
now rolled out of their mouths and is sitting around the same length as like a really long tie down to their like belt buckle if they had one. So sitting, this forked serpent's tongue has just rolled out of their mouths as they're sitting on the sort of woozy state. Neither of them with those 3 and 5s have noticed this just yet.
Oh, we got a
And
couple of parcel tongues.
the little lizards with the wings have appeared back in the bottles.
What? That's witchcraft.
Wizardry.
But who won?
And
Who won?
Glimmer grabs her
I
beer,
think Jake.
hands them the 50 gold. It's a pile of 50 gold each for them to have a crack at it, and puts a second pile of 50 gold in front of Jake.
Aha.
And little well done, which Jake, you don't even feel. You're that numb, but you sort of notice that she's there. Well done, Jakey. I never doubted you.
Right. Fokionis looks up momentarily from eating food and looks at Zachary and goes, "Oh, mate," and then just plays this.
Oh, Princess
Is there
Bride.
something on
Love
my
it.
face?
Except as you're saying this, Zach, you notice as you start to talk that your tongue feels really heavy, and your top teeth and the bottom teeth are colliding with your tongue as you try and speak. And looking down, your tongue is now unfurled with a fork at the end of it into your lap. And you're talking, they're not like that for next little while. And Jake, as you start to laugh at him, you notice the exact same thing.
Oh
Tongue's
no!
perfect for licking doors.
Do I have that too?
Glimmer looks at the both and goes, "Be careful when you're chewing your food, you two.
Ow!
Maybe have another one. It might get better."
Okay, okay. I will have another swig like she suggests.
So are you gonna fill the glass again, or are you just
No, just a swig straight out of the bottle.
Oh, okay. So as you have that, so you manage to as you're trying to figure it out, you realize, Jake, quite quickly, and you overall had the higher constitution rolls, that it's a little bit awkward what you're trying to do with the bottle with your hand, but you realize, and it takes you a bit because you're pretty pissed, but that you can wrap that tongue around the bottle
he has
almost like
movement on the tongue.
it's an extra limb, and you are able to more easily actually let go of it with your hands, and using the tongue wrapped around the bottle, actually upend it and take a swig, and then put the bottle back down.
Tongue.
At the moment, Jake has essentially a prehensile tongue.
Oh god.
I'll be back. I'm gonna go flirt with the patrons.
How?
I'm just gonna flick my tongue at people and hope for the best.
If you do decide to do that, you're definitely going to be staggering and not being anywhere near as fluid in your movements.
I don't have to move with the tongue that long.
As you were making those decisions and making those discoveries, and Zach, you definitely saw that that Jake has discovered a new use and ability for that tongue that you were getting frustrated with and struggling with. The distraction of everything that's been going on, you kind of lost track of the timer that was ticking down on the wall of the inn, but you steadily notice Zachary and Jake a little bit slower than everybody else, but that silence has started to descend over the room, and looking around, and Glimmer's got you guys a great position, so you've got really clear view of the wall, but that timer has hit 0, and the sound is very muted here compared to where you've had it before. That first time you saw the first episode, and it was just blasting and blaring until Mort actually silenced it completely. But the Griffin's Rest Inn doesn't appear to have any interest in all of the fanfare at the start and the theme music and things that start to play as the announcers droning on and talking about a whole range of different things, including the sponsors and the organizers of the fall, and how amazing the season has been so far, and where people can catch the live streams and follow their favorite crawlers when the next dungeon starts. You're only catching little bits and pieces of this because the volume is down quite low. And then as it cuts from that announcer to scenes that are somewhat familiar but also different for you guys. So like you did last time, you start to see this montage, this cinematic of things that are cut together. And as you did last time around, you're looking for any signs of Earth and your families, or now that you've met a few people, perhaps catching a sight of them and seeing what may have resulted for them and their party. And to start with, you see what looks to be a white icy dragon, its mouth, jaws snapping shut with just this huge thunderous boom that you can almost feel through the inn, even with the muted sound. And it narrowly misses a warrior who rolls under those teeth. And as he does so, his companions unleash a barrage of what looks like spells and arrows and magic missiles and all kinds of things hitting that dragon with precision. And you see the dragon rear back, its scales shimmering and dispersing, and even starting to bleed from some of those impacts, but you don't see what the outcome is, because the scene then changes and your attention's drawn to a different chamber. And this is a dimly lit room, and in it you see a group of adventurers, much like yourselves, facing off against a horde of just ravenous undead. innumerable amounts of them, and you see blades are clashing with bone. Spells are being fired. The air itself is filled with just that sickening sound of battle. You can almost smell the rot hanging off the undead, and it reminds you guys of what you've encountered in your different dungeons and adventures, both together and apart. But eventually you just see that party disappear underneath an unrelenting undead tide. They're swept away as the scene cuts again. And after that next cut, you witness what appears to be like a climatic duel between what looks like a paladin in this shining white plate mail and some sort of magic user, perhaps a sorcerer, wreathed in roiling black atop a crumbling stone bridge. And as their magic and their energies and their weapons clash, there's a crackling through the air, lightning arcs, fire erupts, this black viscous mass surrounds the sorcerer. And then as the rest of his party watches in horror, the paladin appears to smite the sorcerer and the bridge, and entangling the sorcerer in his grasp takes them both descending down into the darkness below. And
Is there a
then
moment where the camera looks at him and he says, "Fly, you fools"? No.
You shall not pass.
Oh, God.
no, but it would have been cool if it did. As your group sort of has your little muttered Lord of the Rings reference conversation, a little bit of black humor to take away from the the horror that you're watching.
Well, we're all
And the
pissed
next
off,
one,
got meat sweats on, so you know.
yeah, it hasn't stopped the entire time. And then the next one, it takes a really dark and quite ominous and sinister turn, and you see at the start of it what appears to be two crawlers appearing to be in what seems to be the same dungeon, sharing that same dungeon. Um, as two different views side by side, and then we cut to just one of those groups, and it appears to be one of those groups that you saw at the start, and out of the darkness behind what appears to be a sentry or a couple of sentries, a shadowy figure just silently glides and just ends the lives of the crawlers that were standing what appeared to be some sort of guard or sentry duty, and then just mercilessly approaches the remaining sleeping forms and just strikes with practiced precision. No wasted movement, no wasted motion, and all you do is all you see is just some pools of blood spreading outward, and just with those daggers that he was wielding stained with blood, you see that figure look up towards an invisible camera, and with a smile that is just terrifying and terrible to behold, he licks the blood from each of those knives and then proceeds to cut 5 thin notches on his forearm, matching the number of crawlers you just saw him kill.
Yeah.
And from behind, the rest of his party emerges and just gleefully begins looting the corpses, stepping in the blood, no regard for those that have fallen. And you recognize that group that is doing the looting, and including the figure who just carved those notches in his arm, as the same ones who entered the portal in episode 1 from what was some sort of unidentified prison. They're just no longer in, their orange prison wear. They've
That's
definitely
weird.
upgraded their items. And as you're watching this and shuddering and dealing with what you just saw of humans murdering other humans, you see Team Meadowlark on the screen, and they're stopped in a hallway, and they seem to be checking for traps. The camera pans to one toothless old timer who's got a red, white stitch MAGA hat sort of off to one side of his head. He's got his pants around his ankles, and he's peeing on the wall. And you
Okay.
hear a voice you only caught briefly in the little interaction you had with Team Meadowlark, but you hear this, "No, Jack, no!" And from the dwarven woman Yolanda, who had the large black warhammer, and you see that same warhammer fly through the air and crush Jack's head to a bloody pulp, smashing it against the wall, and the lifeless corpse just falls down. You got no frame of reference and understanding as to why that had even happened, and what was so different from the caring group of orderlies looking after the elderly. But you don't have much time to think about that, because then you hear a system message, and it's louder than the rest of the audio. It's very clear, even on the muted sound you've got. It was, "Jack, final warning previously issued. You should have used the bathroom. Good luck." and the still peeing corpse of Jack as it's falling to the floor, where that puddle of urine was on the wall and now sort of around his ankles, it begins to bubble and boil, and that entire section of wall that was hit with the urine stream dissolves, and from within it is initially this gigantic set of nostrils and scales and teeth, and then as more of the wall dissolves and is crushed and broken inwards, this terrifying head and arm poke through the wall, making a larger and larger gap that it begins to start climbing out of. And this figure is just a colossal, hulking thing covered with spikes and spines and scales. The body, compared to the crawlers, is massive beyond measure, bigger than anything you guys have seen or encountered. The mouth is filled with these huge stained razor sharp teeth. The eyes are piercing, and they definitely have intelligence and also an insatiable hunger there. And it looks, if nothing else, like an even scarier, larger mutant version of Godzilla on steroids, as a frame of reference, as it is clamoring out into the dungeon with Team Meadowlark. One of those errant arms, as it's crawling through, hits and destroys the remaining trolley on that they were transporting the elderly on. But at the last moment, you see Elle, the elderly lady that took a liking to Fokionis and was telling him plenty of stories and had pocket candies and a bit of lint and fluff for Alia. Her eyes open wide from that sort of cataract filled grey lack of understanding. And just before that arm strikes, there's a focus there, and from underneath and around that arm, a small blue fairy woman appears, whipping frost attacks at the beast. It appears that Elle has, at the very last possible moment, had a change of form. And then the final shot you see is Chris and Brandon and Amani turning to flee. Amani scooping Elle from the air as they run, and Yolanda, picking up her hammer, is swinging it at the teeth of this giant thing as it is pulling its way into the tunnel. And the teeth are many times greater than her dwarven height. And as you're watching all of this, you can just hear glimmer in this. It is now dead silent in the Griffin's Rest Inn. You just hear, oh, they unleashed the Tarask on those poor bastards. And she takes a big, hefty swig of that liquor infused beer. And finally, you see yourselves. Not just a glimpse this time, but in brutal and embarrassing detail. You see Ivy fall once more to a skeletal dwarven figure that attacked from the darkness. You see Fokionis and the rest of you made to appear uncoordinated and pathetic in your attempts to fight Mama Fok. The editing and the cuts, you can see that your whole party's been made to be shown in your worst possible light and camera angle, and indeed, elements of different fights and scenes being tucked together to make it appear like it all happened at once. It looks like every time you guys don't die, it's lucky, and every failure is just stupidity and ignorance rather than chance or misfortune. You see Alia strip and stumble through arrow traps
yeah.
and get the shit shot out of her. You see Fokionis fumbling and dropping his weapons as he's in a couple of different situations as he's trying to swing and attack, especially against his mother. And you see close-ups of Zachary and Alia's stricken faces as the healing potion Zach's pouring into Ivy's mouth has no effect. And the rest of it goes on from there, and you're all a bit numb and not quite taking it in as much as you were earlier. And you see glimpses of epic loot and hidden chambers and open portals and groups surviving and groups falling. Traps triggered, some evaded, some not. And the episode fades out, and there's no sign or footage of Earth or your loved ones at all, or anybody's. You're completely in the dark as to what's happening on the surface. And as it fades to black and then comes back up on the screen, you have a countdown timer. Level 2 dungeon collapse, 6 hours. Level 3 dungeon portal opens, 24 hours. And those times are steadily ticking down. And next, underneath that timer, is a leaderboard. And strangely, with no context given, that leaderboard contains a position, a team name, and a bounty. In position 1 are the Death Row Reapers. Their bounty is 5,000 gold. Next is the Shadow Hunters at 4,500. I'll send you guys all of this for reference. Iron Legion at 4,000, Golden Gladiators 3,500, Unseen Hand 3,000, Arcane Aces 2,500, Team Meadowlark 2,000, Brynhilda's Daughters 1,500, The Wandering Ronins 1,000, Chaos correctly spelt out in terms of the acronym, not the full title, 500. Scared Shitless with the the star out of shitless, whether that's deliberate or on the point, that the actions of the team. You're not sure. It would seem strange that the 4 wouldn't like swearing when they just showed what they just showed on the screen. And then in 12th place, the Valkyries at 300. So 1 through to 12, you guys were there in 10th place with your bounty without any explanation being 500 gold. And that stays on the screen. And finally, underneath that is Crawlers remaining 1.3 million. And that's where it fades out of the episode. And there's a stillness and a quiet in the inn as the patrons sort of soak that in and drink their drinks. And as you decide what you're going to do next, I'm going to go around and just check in with you and each of your characters. Can I just get each of you to do a wisdom saving throw? This time you all have it with advantage because of the hero's feast.
Okay.
Oh, I just did it with normal. Ignore that.
You can do normal twice and take the highest, or you can just roll it again with advantage. That's up to you. That's a lot of dice. I'll go around and get some some numbers. Right, let's go to
We both rolled
saving
at the same time.
Yeah.
21. I got.
that 21. Let's go Jake next.
16.
Yeah, Fokionis.
18.
Yeah, and Alia.
15.
Poor mushroom lady sad.
So, actually, no, I'll leave we don't need to address those saving throws just at the moment. So as we go around and you've just borne witness to everything that's unfolded, I'm going to start with you, Fokionis, and Alia being a little bit more clear-headed and not inebriated. Where's Fokionis at after seeing that? Feeling, doing, thinking, reacting?
I think he's mixed because there's still the mixed grill from all hell in front of him. However, he did watch, and he was like not perhaps feeling all that happy about how he was perceived. Oh, I did not fair. That's not fair. That was my mum. I didn't drop. Oh, come on. I'm a wicked. Oh, whatever. It just goes back to eating his food.
As Fokionis is going through that, letting you guys know too, at the end of episode 1, there were roughly 13 million crawlers left.
Holy shit.
So at the end of dungeon 1, the end of dungeon 2, there's 1.3. So at about a 90% attrition rate of your fellow humans that haven't survived that. Alia, as the other currently more clear-headed individual, what's Alia thinking, feeling, doing in and around this?
I'm going to slam my drink on the table and say, "What the fuck?" And then shove a handful of meat in my mouth.
Yeah.
As you do that, like it's quite silent, and with that loud slam and beer sloshing as it's filling back up, it's kind of like breaks the spell in the rest of the inn, and you hear this, you like a big cheer, not to what they've just seen, but essentially agreeing with the sentiment that you've just expressed. You just get this big wave of, yeah, fuck that, and you just there's glasses getting thrown like Glimmer did at the start at the wall. It has gone from like the moment of stillness to you have re-triggered, and the inn then is back into its raucous self. It's no longer like a silent tomb. There is definitely a lot more, not directed at any body in particular, and you do notice that there's a couple of people seem to have picked up on they join the dots of and there's definitely a little bit of awareness, but you're not superstar celebrities. There's just a few that have paid enough attention to
appreciate us.
notice, especially with the fiery burps, and the the events that unfolded earlier. All right, coming back to Jake.
You even can hear it? Or
Well, Jake and Zach are still like they're aware of what's happened, but they're pissed.
pretty sure Jake's tongue's like doing something else.
Not
Last week-
anymore.
That's a great old school reference. So I'm watching the Dante's GIF. It's perfect. Sorry. Anyway, Jake.
Yes, partying explosions can't help you run away from the trauma you're trying to escape.
Damn it.
Ivy's gone. This isn't a dream. That he's not doing well. He's gonna crawl under the table and hide for a bit.
Has Jake taken the bottle that was still wrapped last we saw around his tongue with
Yeah.
him? Yeah.
He's taking the bottle with him.
We'll check in with Jake in a little bit. And Zachary, what's Zachary in this moment?
Zach's like knew this was coming. Like, so tried to just get as pissed as possible to prepare for it. Didn't help, but sort of made him a bit numb to it, I guess. But yeah, just keeps drinking some more till hopefully he blacks out and forgets what he just saw.
Are you using your hands with your bottle, or have you followed Jake's lead?
Yeah, just follow Jake's lead.
Jake's lead.
Uh,
So go wrap the tongue around and take swigs that way.
Yeah,
Nice work.
just
So as you're all kind of dealing, and Fokionis is back to eating and drinking his feelings, and everyone is taking their own way of dealing with this, especially some of that fresh reminders, and for Jake, who's you see him sort of disappear under the table. That's the first time Jake has, you guys answered his questions and described to him as best as you could for what he wanted to know, what had happened, and he certainly saw Ivy disappear and the resurrection fail, but has just seen now, as with the rest of you reliving that, has seen it for the first time and seen the way that happened in what it could not have been presented in a worst possible light, just because of, for whatever reason, the way that your group has been shown. So as those timers are ticking, what you guys can see is that and from your experience last time around, is that in 6 hours time, that previous dungeon will collapse and everything that was in there will be returned into essentially the bank of materials that the AI is using to build things, and that Borat is mining earth for, and stripping away from it, and also that you'll have a portal entrance, which is described to you guys by Mort now multiple times, but you've exited it into dungeon 2 through your safe room, so you were aware that in 24 hours, or as that time is now just ticking second by second down, there will be an entrance into the next dungeon for you to see what that is in 24 hours. You're currently at about, with all of your adventuring around and feasting, etc., you're at around 9:30, 10 p.m. at night, where you currently are at the Griffin's Rest Inn, and you're somewhere between 2 and 3 hours into your hero's feast, timer ticking away. So with all of that, I guess what is whether you guys want to do something more specific here, whether there's anything you want to look at doing, or whether you want to push ahead some time frames and we can move into some different stages over about the next 20 minutes. Wondering what you would like to do next at this point.
How long's the countdown clock before the next one opens?
It's at around 23 hours and 55 minutes.
All
Only
right.
a few minutes have passed since the end of the episode, as
Oh,
Jake has
fuck
sort of
yeah,
slid
we're
under the
getting
table.
drunk and getting in bar fights tonight.
Yeah, just focus on relaxing tonight and then have a long rest.
Mm.
And
Would we go have our long rest in a certain spot to see a certain one-eyed bear?
yeah, back to Mort.
Given that he knows nothing of our escapades underground yet. Unless he's in the bar. Is he in the inn? No, because he's got his own inn. Why would he go to a different bar when he has his own bar?
Sorry, there was a lot there. Do you want? Are you sussing out whether Mort is
Oh,
here, like Glimmer is,
Yeah,
or
that was all above the table talk, but you know.
yeah. No, I get that. I'm just wondering what. So,
I mean, I assume he's not, but you know.
Yeah,
I'm
is
not
he
sure
here?
that I need to actively look for him. I don't know. Do we?
I don't know. I thought we'd noticed like a giant
feel like he would've
yellow
noticed us.
bear. Like I feel like he would have stood out.
Yeah.
If
I
he
don't
was
think
here.
we were being quiet or hiding ourselves. So I feel like if he was here, he would have seen us and made himself known to us at this point in time. So let's assume he's not there.
Yeah. So
Okay.
we'll
But-
go back to base and
Oh, I've got
Well,
more
like-
meat to eat.
or like carry Jake back his unconscious
Good
body.
luck.
all right. So, a couple of
Oh.
things. The inn
Poor
itself
Jake.
is quite large with an upper level that you can't fully see, and you could just hear some noises
Oh.
through. So it is a very big, large pub. I'm just letting you know that there you definitely can't see every part of the pub nor be seen from every part of the inn from where you guys currently are. There's at least 2 levels to it, and obviously you're aware that there's like a cellar levels as well because you've been down there. But
I don't know what you mean.
you are free to make any of the assumptions and decisions and actions, because you do know that if you go to the safe room, if Mort is somewhere else, he immediately gets teleported back there. So you'll always have him there when you go to the safe room. But there were a couple people talking about staying here and getting absolutely sozzled and getting into bar fights, I believe was Alia's vote. I missed what you said. Sorry, Jake. There was a couple of combos happening at once. I missed what you said from under the table.
Oh, nothing important. I just said good luck with carrying Jake back.
As Jake and Zach were already quite loose, so there's work to be done.
Doing
So
that.
I'm just looking to know what you'd like to do. Like if you're gonna stay until close or whatever it is your plan is there, we'll
Yeah.
just sort of work that through. Just sort of know what we're looking to move towards, or if there's
Yeah,
people if you want to go looking for Mort or someone else, or talk to
We'll
people.
stay pretty late. I mean, yeah. But, yeah,
Just
having refilling like drinks and stuff. Yeah, not that Mort didn't have that, and like we have the refilling cask, I guess, that fills with wine.
Yep.
So
All right.
you just go back and drink for free.
You've Jake's drinking for free because Glimmer's paid him up. You're down. You got 50 gold just for taking part in the piss up contest,
yeah.
the spelling contest. So,
And
all right. So, yeah.
Yeah, they gave Jake the 10 from our bet, I guess.
Ah, yes, thank you. I hadn't marked that one down. So, yeah. And then these guys they had a much cheaper night of
Yeah.
what they paid for. All right. So, Alia and Fokionis, you guys are getting on the Terps as well as the plan, getting on it with Jake and Zach and drowning your sorrows as a team.
I'm not drinking to their extent, but you know, you got to lubricate the meat with something.
It's serious. You even said that with a straight face.
Did well, eh?
And this is the man who's getting up. Yeah. And so that's hands down. Oh. Okay. Oh my god. Okay, so Ali, are you getting on the terps, like getting on basically the Jake and Zach like hitting it hard?
Yep.
All right. So as the night goes on, more and more drinks are steadily flowing. You guys see at one stage, see as much as hear this eruption of flame from under the table again, as it appears that Jake seems to have downed another fire lizard as he's getting stuck into his mission to drown everything out, as he indicated, crawling under that table. Zach, you actually, yeah, you said you weren't getting on it as heavily, so I'm gonna choose to think that you didn't down the lizard again. Or are you gonna?
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's fair.
I'm just looking to play over. You said
Yeah.
actually, I'm gonna say Ali was getting on it and getting caught up. So Ali, would I be right that there's a pretty fair chance that you'd want to see what all the fuss was about
Yep.
with the so let's give it without having to go through all of the elements. We essentially have Focciona says you're sort of, eating and drinking and steadily getting into your happy as you can be place and watching the rest of your team. Zachary's sort of stabilizing. Jake is just every now and then a burp and a mumble and a gurgle underneath the table and the occasional, the fiery belch that you saw. You do see that Alia has claimed the bottle that Zachary was slowing down on and has upended it down on the lizard and not even giving it a chance to to go into a glass and diffuse out the color, and has erupted into flame and now has a tongue that is almost as tall as she is hanging down. It's the 3 prehensile tongues at the table, as you're currently the odd man out. So are you staying in that state? Because you're about to move on from that part. You're going to sort of be the, you know, you're the designated, I don't know, carrier.
The carrier.
It's nothing to
The
drive.
responsible one.
Where's our portal now?
Back in the safe room. So what I'll am I right with that, or are you going to take the step into the the devil's tongue? Sorry, it's Focciona's going to take the step into the devil's tongue.
Nah, hell no. Got no time for that. That's going to get in the way of my eating.
So as you're steadily eating and you're seeing like this steadying level of comatose, eventually like Zach kind of leveled out, but that sort of weakened constitution that he's got, and he's not terribly robust, and some of those drinks with Glimmer was helping him out, kind of hit him pretty hard. He eventually sort of murmurs and mumbles and face hits the table. You eventually hear some, the whimpering underneath the table turns into a soft and then quite a loud snore. Alia, you look over at one point, and as she's kept on drinking, she's quite happy, and then a raccoon curled up like a cat at the top of a beer barrel. And as you're taking all of this in and sort of going, wow, fuck, how do I handle this? How do I get these guys out of here? You do see this as the inn is emptying out, and Glimmer has at some stage in here, which you can sort of remember, but you were busy eating, but has bid her farewells and headed off with Gregory. And she did say something about offering to help, but you assured her that you'll be fine and everything's okay. She's left. The patrons are steadily making their way out, and as the night has moved into the early morning and almost getting ready for daybreak, as you guys have really celebrated long and hard into the cutout point, a very familiar stumbling, half singing, yellow eye patch figure comes staggering down the stairs from wherever the upstairs, whatever was up there, it has come staggering his way down. He's arm in arm with a halfling who's equally as pissed as what he is, and they're sort of singing away, one in key, one off, and Mort is definitely not in key. The halfling has like a keytar sort of half strung across, and he's sort of every now and then strumming a note that's in key, every now and then missing it entirely as they're trying to sing something as they're walking down the stairs. And as Mort sees you guys, he's not really with it, and he kind of keeps stumbling his way towards the front door with a rah, rah, as he goes. And Mort makes his way over to you guys. Yeah. Oh, fuck, Jonas. How the fuck are you? That was fucked up. Oh, they're fucked up. All right, give me a hand. And he's, despite being quite a bit three sheets to the wind himself, he's in enough of a state that he's not lost his faculties. He's definitely pissed. But he gently, surprisingly gently, picks up Alia and has her cradled, and leaves you to, in whatever manner you would like, bring Zachary and Jake with you, because they're all three unconscious at this stage.
All right. So at this stage, Fockianus is like probably sitting back somewhat like this, just with like drumstick, sausage. Suppose so. Probably time to stop. Grabs his bag, and in a very Alia-like moment, opens the bag, picks up the meat tray, slides all the meat into the bag for later. Then remembers about the stone and went, puts the plate in the thing as well.
and strangely, there's no stone there, but the plate and all the meat that is now slid off the plate straight into the bag. Yep.
It's bag.
Butter and the meat separately.
Yeah.
All right, then.
Scoots up, two lizard tongue idiots, one on each shoulder, and follows Mort.
And so it's the stagging and stumbling, and Fockianus now having basically the equivalent of a dad bod and out of season Vin Diesel, as opposed to the in season Vin Diesel meat belly. Hike your way back to the safe room, make your way inside. So by the time you guys get there, you've basically gone through till about 6 a.m. You've got around 18 hours until because you can see this timer, so you're aware of this, the rest of them aren't, until that next dungeons opens. And I'm assuming you head everyone back off to their respective areas, and that you're all taking your long rests.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's leave it there with because Mort staggers off after he carefully places Alia into. He's careful about how he does it, because Alia hasn't invited Mort into her space, and there is no emergency here, so he's basically able to reach in as far as he can reach to place you carefully, Alia, curled up inside your room. Fockianus, you're essentially the same with Jake and Zachary. There's been no specific invitation into their space, so you're basically able to lay them into their rooms, shove their ankles in a bit, lay them out as best you can. But they're both asleep on the floor, and throw their tongues in after them before heading to sleep yourself. And so what we'll do there is, we'll finish up. You can give yourselves your long rest so that you'll all officially be level 7, and if you can do that in D&D Beyond, that will automatically bring back
I'm already level 7. Okay, cool.
It'll automatically bring back the hit points, but I'm not going to sync you up in Foundry until that 24 hours passes, because you've got your hit point buffs from the Hero's Feast, so I will fix that up when we synchronize it. But when your 8 hours is up, we'll reassess those timers, and you guys can figure out what you're looking to do
Cool.
next week.
All right. Oh,
I did not expect that to go to a
I mean,
freaking
really,
45-minute drinking
though?
contest. No, really.
Come on. I'm just surprised we didn't have a new group member at the end of that. I felt
think you
sure we were
may-
going to get a dwarvish barman.
Imagine if Rick came back while we were all plastered.
Ah, and probably had some really important news or messages to share. Fucking snake tongues and recorder's pissed and
Binge eating and like.
one member's dead and the other has some new guy curled up under the table. That would have been a pretty funny episode to have seen how Rick would react. Oh,
Right, well, we got stitched
Good
up in that
times.
like cutscene, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
we did.
Like we
Yeah.
pissed someone off.
Did we?
I can't imagine like, what we could have done.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
We only just tried to blow up a door. Surely that has
Yeah, and we got a
absolute no
bounty as
correlation
well.
to this.
What's that from? We got less of a bounty than the old people.
That's okay, because it means that other clowns will avoid going for us for a while, hopefully.
That just made us look dumb, so people think we're idiots and we
No.
not realize that we can kill them very, very easily.
Exactly. See, you
Yeah,
let them
so
think that.
no more licking
I think
walls
Mort's done it on
in
purpose.
case they've been pissed on.
Mort's had a hand in it. It's been done on purpose, unbeknownst to us.
Yeah,
He's
Mort
bumbling
is
buffoon.
masterminding a whole thing. Mort's the AI.
In a very Inspector Clouseau, Mr. Bean type fucking moment, we're just going to bumble our way through to victory.
Yeah. It's
Very Pink Panther-esque.
yeah, like get smart. Or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's correct.
Don't chew that.
You have like 99 there saying smart things. You just ignore it.
But for these people in Twitch world, if you want to continue this conversation, go post them on the YouTube VOD, and I guess we'll see how well this conversation ages.
It'll be dead,
as
so
the rest of
it's the end of
the
Canada.
rest of the game unfolds. Thanks, Twitches.
You pretty much
See ya.
Come on.
Oh,
That one.
you've
That
got to
one.
lubricate your meat
Could be that one.
somehow. You're serious.
The moment at which
Yeah,
Spar
you do.
realised the group's weakness, I can just get them all pissed and full
Just
of
go-
food.
Bar,
That'll fuck 'em.
yeah, bar opens 2 p.m. Dungeon opens 3 p.m. That's where we can be smashed.
Not
Alright,
gonna
I'm
lie,
gonna
that
go
would be
because
pretty
I
funny.
need a pee.
No
Yeah,
worries at
Oh,
all.
I should
You have fun.
go early morning tomorrow.
Yeah, no worries. That was good fun.
Loyals.
Thanks,
Right,
everybody.
guys, thank
for making
you.
it fun.
Yeah, it was fun. Thank you, Lily, as well.
Have a good one, guys.
Yeah, bye.
You too. See everybody.
Bye.
Bye.